Die legendariese Suid-Afrikaanse musikant Dan Patlansky kuier vanoggend by ons en ons gesels oor sy opkomende toer, sy musiek wat goed doen en sommer net oor sy lewe, iets van alles. So good morning, Dan.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I want to start because, I mean, when you read your bio and you listen to things that people say about you, it really is, there's no other word than describing you as legendary. If you think about the fact that you're one of the best guitar players in the world, your albums do well, how do you achieve not only success in this industry, but longevity?
It's a great question. I mean, it's a tough industry. It's, you know, it's not easy, but I think being super passionate about something, but like passionate enough to push you through, you know, all the tough times.
Yeah.
It's that consistency. And the only way you can be consistent is that passion. That's what keeps that fire burning, you know, always. And it's also not a question of, you know, I have to make it. It's like, it doesn't matter if I make it. This is my passion, this is my love, and I'm going to do it if I make it or not type of thing.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. And I like the fact that you're quite real about the fact that it's tough. It's not easy. And people very often think, oh, wait, overnight success. But there was a lot happening before you actually achieved that success. If your kids turned to you and said, we want to go into the music industry, what would your advice be?
Well, first, I think my heart would be filled with a little bit of dread. Just you know, knowing what's in store for them.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, I would obviously be happy for them to, you know, follow any kind of career path that they love. You know, that's the thing. But they got to love it enough. That's the thing. It's like, if your passion isn't at like 100% for it,
don't do it.
Don't do it, because you're not going to make it, and you're just setting yourself up for super hard times ahead. But if you're passionate, you don't care about the hard times, right? It's easy because you love what you're doing, even though you might be broke or you know, whatever it is. But you love what you're doing. That's it, yeah.
Dan, ek wil net eers vir jou duidelik vra. You're still a Pretoria oak.
Yeah, I'm down the road here.
Is it? But now, how's that possible? Because you are probably one of the most successful international guitarists that has ever come from South Africa. Jy is baie meer famous in die buiteland as wat jy hier is. You are, I mean, the tours you do there, the albums that you do in the States, your albums do brilliantly. The UK and Europe, you're highly rated, sought after artist. In South Africa, yeah, okay, but I mean, why are you hiding from the planet in South Africa?
It's a good question. To be honest with you, every time I go overseas, I mean, it's great to be there and it's great to tour there. But I don't feel at home, to be honest, you know. And I love South Africa, even with all our issues. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure a lot of people would, you know, agree with me. When you come back, even with load shedding and all the nonsense that we have, there's something about it's home here.
There's really, something, yeah.
And the people here, you know, I understand the people here, and you know, I love the country, and also like my kids are happy here. They're at school here down the road, and it's. You know, it's every time I come back, I do feel like I'm at home, and you know, we live in a world where you can just jump on a plane, and
yes.
You know, you go to sleep, watch a movie, and then you're in another country, and then you can spend time, and that's what I kind of do. But I've always got here to come back to, so it's home.
Wow. Pierre mentioned now about you doing well with your music overseas especially, and I think as someone like you that really plays for a niche market, how difficult is it to make your music in South Africa in comparison to doing your music overseas?
Well, you know, as you said, I think the key word's niche. It's niche anywhere in the world. It's not just niche in South Africa, it's niche in Europe and the States, but that little niche part of the market's a lot bigger. But saying that, you know, there is a scene for what I do here, and an incredibly loyal fan base. It is a little bit more difficult, and I think just in general it's quite difficult doing music in South Africa because, you know, we don't necessarily have the infrastructure for live music like there is in Europe and the UK and the States.
Well, the masses of fans.
Yeah, for sure. You know, there's that too, but I think the infrastructure is important because, you know, if you go and tour in Europe, there's a venue size depending, if every, you know, you can go play 80-seater venues, and then all the way up to stadiums, where I find in South Africa you got like a couple small venues, and then you got to take this giant leap to go from 100, and then your next stage is like 400, and then after 400, what is it? It's, you know, a couple thousand. So those stepping stones don't seem to exist here, which makes it difficult. It really, really does. You know, you've got to kind of have this giant, take this giant leap of faith, and you know, just to go to the next step. And you know, you often fail doing it. You know, and it kind of costs you money. So, but you know, it's not all bad here. It really isn't. It's, you know, it's like the fan base is really, really good and loyal here, and you know, generally a very educated audience. They know what they're listening to. And you know, that's why, you know, it's why I keep touring here. It's fantastic, yeah.
Dan, we still have to speak about your upcoming tours and the album that did well, maar dit gebeur alles na die advertentiebreek.
Welkom terug by die groot ontbyt, die wêreldbekende blues-musikant Dan Patlansky, Suid-Afrikaanse wêreldbekende blues-musikant, is môre hier en ons gesels oor alles en nog wat. Dan, before we start, we have to talk about 2 shows you're doing in South Africa still, then there's a tour to the UK coming up. But first I want to find out, tell me about, on your right hand, the ink that says tone.
Tone, yes. So for me...
You know, that's in Afrikaans, it's tone.
Tone. My wife reminds me about that all the time. Tone, yeah. So for me, that's like one of the most driving forces in music for me is tone. And what tone is just like, you know, the quality of the sound. And I'm such a... tone freak. I spend a lot of time dialing in guitar sounds, and you know, when you're recording an album, getting the tone right of the album. And for me, it's the vehicle that carries melody in all music. So it is, without a doubt, my #1 priority in music. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing with ink, eh? It's sort of you're documenting your life on your body.
Yes.
When you start tattooing, it becomes a little bit addictive.
Very addictive. Very, very addictive. And I mean, I haven't got ink in a long time, and I'm probably done. You know, I say probably. You know, let's not make any harsh, serious statements here. But I'm probably done. But it is. You kind of remember portions of your life, what you did then, where you were in your life, and you know, it's a part of it. You know.
I have to ask, I read you said you like touring with new music and then recording rather than recording and then touring with it. Why?
Well, we're doing this for the first time now. I used to do it as a kid, and the old school musicians used to do that. You used to take brand new songs, you used to tour them before you recorded them, because the song develops as you play it live, and things change. Now, I haven't done that for years, because the normal way of doing it is you write a song, you go into studio, you record it, then you tour it, and then the song changes. So we've written a whole bunch of brand new songs, and you know, the whole point of these 2 South African dates and this European tour is we are taking brand new songs, also old ones, but brand new songs, and kind of testing them out on the road, I suppose, is probably the best way to do it. And it's the, you know, by the time you get into the studio, the songs are right. They've been molded in the way, and they're going to record, you know, way more naturally than just going straight into the studio without any thought or feedback from an audience.
I'm just going to quickly ramble off the places where this tour is going to be.
Yes.
If you read that, then you realize the scope of it. Glasgow, Cardiff, Sheffield, Newcastle, Manchester, Southampton, Barnsley, London. Then in the Netherlands, in Holland, Dortmund in Germany, Freischapelle, Raalte, Maastricht, Leiden, Budapest. You got to tour Europe, and then you have 2 shows before you go there. You've got 2 shows in South Africa.
Yes. And now these are the, you know, like the first shows of the tour, even though they're in South Africa, because this is the first time we're doing this brand new set with the new songs, the old songs. So yeah, I'm super, super excited, and these are happening next week. Yeah.
Next week in South Africa.
Yes.
Venues?
So we're playing next Wednesday, the 26th, at Emperor's Palace Barnyard, and then on the 28th we're playing Silver Star Casino Barnyard, and these are the first 2 shows of this, you know, international tour, even though we're in South Africa, but we've got to kick it off here, you know.
That's incredible. And you're taking your band with you when you're touring overseas this time?
Yes, I am. I normally use, you know, local musicians, just, you know, for cost saving and stuff, but because it's brand new songs, you know, I normally fly into London and we rehearse for 3 hours and then we hit the road. We need a lot more rehearsal, so I'm super happy to be taking, you know, my South African band across with me this time. It's awesome to have, you know, Sapphire's with you. You know?
And also we have to talk about something. If people really want to learn how to play guitar properly, well, the way that you approach it, because that's also a unique approach that you have.
Sure.
Are you doing a thing in Clarence?
Yes, so I do a guitar weekend twice a year, and it's just like 30 guitar players of all levels join me for the weekend, and all you do is eat, sleep, talk guitar for the weekend. I do workshops, I teach, there's a lot of jamming, and the next one of these is happening on the last weekend in November. And all the details of that are on my website, danpatlansky.com. But it's one of the highlights of my year, to hang around with 30 like-minded people. You know, it's awesome. It really is.
I have to ask you, being in the industry for so long, how have you changed as an artist?
Oh,
Ooh, deep. Yeah. No, I have changed. I've changed a lot, and I think the industry teaches you. And you know, I think the failures that you have are like the golden moments where you realize and you grow from those moments. It really is about the thing I've learned the most is trying to have the most unique voice you can, and I don't mean voice, I mean just voice in a global sense, in what you do. You know, I'm doing the blues rock thing, and it's very, very easy to get that cookie cutter sound and conform to what it all sounds like. But then your music kind of just gets lost in all the noise because there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of great stuff out there. So it's about having some bit of uniqueness that you can bring to your songs and your production and your live performances that just make you a little bit different, so people can pay attention.
the right tone in everything.
The right tone, there you go.
Staying true to yourself.
That's it.
I like that. Also touring around the world, except for South Africa, of course. Is there a country or venue that's your favorite place to go back to?
Okay, so South Africa aside, generally, the London shows are really good. And the reason is because it's a healthy mix of expat South Africans that have been in, London, because London's a hot spot for expat South Africans, and obviously local, Londoners. And that's always a fantastic kind of highlight show for the tour. And it's consistently a highlight show. And, it's generally one of the biggest shows we do in Europe and the UK. And I think it's because of that South African connection. And that's always, and it's always the last show of the UK leg. It's always a great little place to end things off with.
How often do you still push yourself to learn new techniques, try out new things? Because I always think if you're an artist, when you get to a place where you think, okay, cool, I know it all, you kind of tend to stagnate as an artist. You relax into it. Are you someone that still continuously push yourself and drive forward to learn new things and better yourself?
All the time. I think if you get to that point, it's time to quit. If you think you're right, because if you look at the level of guitar players in the world and musicians and songwriters, there's some incredible stuff out there. And I love nothing more than seeing someone play something that I can't do, and that inspires me, and that kind of lights a fire and it pushes you in a certain direction, because you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to be confident with that. So all the time, I try and play at least 4 hours every day, if I'm not on touring or stuff,
That says a lot. If you're willing to look at someone else's work and go, I can't do that. It's something different to me, and I'm supposedly this hot shot, but I can't do that, and I'm going to try and do that. And to break down the walls that you build around yourself, we all have that little bit of an ego. You can say what you will. We all have a bit of an ego. We go, maybe I shouldn't focus there. Maybe I'm better than that. But that's something you can't do. So going there, it's difficult.
It is. But, as I say, in the guitar world, globally, there's such fierce players out there that those walls get broken down very, very quickly. And you don't have to go overseas. You can just go into YouTube or something and look at these guys. And it's a very, very humbling experience sometimes watching these guys. And especially if you're playing a festival overseas and some of these guys are on the bill and you get to see them live and meet them. It brings you, if you're up there, it brings you right down very, very swiftly. But it's a good thing, because you're always growing, and that feeling of growth there's no feeling like it, when you eventually achieve something that you've been trying to do.
Someone like you, Dan, that's achieved so much, played throughout the world, what do you still dream of? What is it, that one thing that you go, you know what, I would still like to accomplish that?
Well, that's a good question. Even though I'm touring, a lot overseas, there's still a lot of work to do there. You know, there's, as I say, those stepping stones of venue sizes, and kind of getting, you know, your art form out there for more and more people to listen to. So it's to continuously grow, and you know, to continue doing this as a living. That's what I always say. You know, it's like I feel blessed to do something I love for a living and see the world doing it and meet the people I meet doing it. And, you know, just to have the opportunity to continue doing it, that's the main thing for me. And a living out of it. Obviously, you got to the school fees and...
You've got to eat.
And food,
School fees. Don't we all have school fees to pay? My goodness. Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us this morning and just chatting about your plans and about the tour. And it's been lovely having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ja, Dan Patlansky, legendariese blues-musikant. As jy nou nog nie vir Dan gesien of gehoor het gitaar speel nie, mens, soos hy sê, YouTube, dit werk.